We've all been there. You walk into the room after a long day, seeing your feline companion curled up on the sofa. You call their name, maybe in that high-pitched baby voice we all seem to use, and you wait for a reaction. Perhaps a tail flick, a turn of the head, or better yet, a welcoming meow. Instead, you get nothing. Maybe a single ear rotates slightly toward you, acknowledging your presence like a busy executive acknowledging a junior staffer, before settling back into a state of total stillness. It's easy to feel a little slighted. We provide the food, the shelter, the chin scratches, and the expensive toys they inevitably ignore in favor of a cardboard box. In our human-centric view of relationships, being ignored feels like a rejection. We wonder if they're being spiteful, or if they simply don't recognize us as the important figures we think we are. But the truth is far more fascinating than simple grumpiness. Science has confirmed what most cat owners have long suspected. Your cat really is ignoring you. They hear you, they recognize your voice, and they know exactly who you are. They just often choose not to respond. To understand why, we have to look past our own social expectations and dive into the unique evolutionary history and independent psychology of the cat. For a long time, researchers focused heavily on dogs, perhaps because dogs are so eager to participate in studies. But in recent years, science has turned its gaze toward the more enigmatic house cat. One landmark study conducted by researchers at the University of Tokyo, including Atsuko Saito and Kazutaka Shinozuka, sought to answer the age-old question: does my cat actually know it's me calling? They tested 20 house cats in their own homes, playing recordings of 3 strangers calling the cat's name, followed by the owner's voice, and then another stranger. To measure the cat's reactions, they looked for orienting behavior, subtle movements like the twitching of an ear, the turning of the head, or the dilation of the pupils. The results were definitive. The cats showed a significantly greater response to their owners' voices than to the strangers. They knew it was their human. However, despite this recognition, they rarely bothered to actually get up or move toward the sound. They acknowledged the familiar sound, then essentially went back to sleep. This tells us something profound about the cat-human bond. Unlike dogs, who have been bred for thousands of years to respond to human commands and orders, cats never evolved that specific social requirement. They are perfectly capable of communicative behavior, but they only engage in it when they want to. As Saito famously noted, that is the cat. A partnership of choice. The evolutionary path. To understand why your cat feels it has the option to ignore you, we have to go back about 9,000 to 10,000 years to the Near East. This is where the ancestor of the modern house cat, Felis sylvestris, first encountered humans. Unlike almost every other domesticated animal, cats weren't captured or bred by humans for a specific purpose. Instead, they effectively domesticated themselves. When early human societies transitioned from hunting and gathering to agriculture, they began storing grain. These grain stores became a magnet for rodents. Cats saw an opportunity. Why spend all day hunting in the wild when dinner comes to you in the form of mice swarming around human settlements? The humans in turn realized it was good to have these small predators around to protect their food. It was a mutually beneficial arrangement based on proximity, not obedience. Because of this self-domestication, cats never lost their independence. Dogs evolved from wolves, highly social pack animals with a clear hierarchy. They were bred to look to us for direction, for food, and for emotional cues. Cats, however, evolved from a fairly solitary ancestor. Even today, they remain semi-domesticated. If you turned a house cat loose, they would likely survive quite well on their own, hunting birds and mice just as their ancestors did. In a cat's mind, they are not your subject, and you are not their master. They are proactive partners who take the initiative in human-cat interactions. They stay with us because they want to, not because they are evolutionarily hardwired to obey. Part of the reason we feel ignored is that we are often blind to the subtle ways cats actually do communicate. While a dog's affection is loud and demonstrative, the wagging tail, the jumping, the licking, a cat's communication is far more nuanced. Take, for example, the slow blink. Have you ever noticed your cat looking at you with partially closed eyes, slowly narrowing them until they shut for a second? Researchers have confirmed that this is essentially a cat smile. In a 2020 study, psychologists found that cats are more likely to approach a human who slow blinks at them. It's a sign of relaxation and benign intentions. Because cats often view an unbroken stare as a threat, the slow blink is their way of saying, "I trust you, and I am not a threat to you." Then there's the social roll. When a cat flops onto their side or rolls onto their back, many humans see this as an invitation for a belly rub. It usually isn't. In the feline world, this is a sign of extreme trust and relaxation. They are showing you their most vulnerable area to say they feel safe, but they aren't necessarily asking to be touched there. If you reach for the belly and get a swat, it's not that the cat is bipolar, it's that you misinterpreted their signal. They also listen much more carefully than we give them credit for. Recent studies from Kyoto University showed that cats can mentally map where their owners are in a room just by listening to their voices. When researchers played a recording that made it sound like the owner had teleported from one side of the room to the other, the cats showed genuine surprise, moving their ears and looking around in confusion. They are always paying attention. They just don't always feel the need to show it. The consent test. Respecting boundaries. If you find that your cat is frequently ignoring your attempts at affection, or worse, reacting with swatting or biting, it might be a matter of etiquette. Every cat is a unique individual with their own set of boundaries. A great way to build a deeper, more trusting connection is by using a consent test before petting. Instead of reaching over their head, which can feel threatening, crouch down and speak quietly. Extend a hand or a finger low to the ground and wait for the cat to approach you. If they sniff your hand and then turn away, they are politely saying, "No." If they rub their cheeks or chin against your hand or lean into you, they are giving consent. Most cats prefer being petted in areas where they have scent glands, like the cheeks, chin, and behind the ears. The key to a happy cat isn't forcing them to pay attention to you. It's giving them the choice and control in the interaction. When a cat knows their no will be respected, they actually become more confident and likely to seek your affection on their own terms. The psychology of contentment. Philosopher John Gray, in his book Feline Philosophy, suggests that we have much to learn from the indifferent nature of cats. Humans are often plagued by existential angst, constantly searching for meaning and creating complex stories about our lives. We ruminate on the past and worry about the future. Cats, however, don't rely on stories. They don't have religions or moral philosophies. They don't worry about being good or bad people. They are happy and content by default. Unless their immediate safety or comfort is threatened, they are perfectly at peace with the world as it is. When your cat ignores you, they aren't being heartless or immoral. They are simply living in the present moment, faithful to their own nature. They don't need praise or approval from others to feel brave or worthy. If they decide to walk away from you, it's not a judgment on your character. It's just what suits them in that moment. This independence is precisely what makes their affection so valuable. When a cat does choose to interact with you, when they seek out your lap or respond to your voice, it's not because they have to. It's because they genuinely want to be near you. Building a feline friendship. If you're struggling to bond with a distant cat, remember that relationships take time and finesse. This is especially true if you are introducing a second cat into the home. Cats are territorial by nature, and just tossing them together is often a recipe for disaster. Experts suggest taking introductions one sense at a time. Start with sound, then move to scent, perhaps using the sock exchange method. By rubbing a clean sock on one cat's face to collect friendly pheromones and placing it in the other cat's area, you allow them to investigate each other's scent signature in a safe, controlled way. The goal is to give the cats a reason to like each other. Use food, treats, and interactive playtime to create positive associations, and always go at the pace of the most stressed out cat. The same applies to your relationship with your cat. If you find them standoffish, it might be because you aren't speaking their language. Try narrowing your eyes in a relaxed smile, then closing them for a couple of seconds. You might find that they respond in kind, starting a silent conversation that goes deeper than any spoken word. Accepting the enigma. We often try to humanize our cats, expecting them to behave like small, furry people. But comparing them to dogs or to ourselves is a disservice to their unique nature. Cats are not sociopaths. They are capable of deep bonds and strong emotional attachments. In studies using tests similar to those used on human infants, 64% of kittens showed a secure attachment to their owners, seeing them as a source of comfort and security. They really do like us, they just show it differently. Your cat might not come running to the door like a dog, but they might show their love by simply choosing to be in the same room as you, or by giving you a slow blink from across the kitchen. So the next time you call your cat's name and they respond with nothing more than a twitch of an ear, don't take it personally. They aren't rejecting you. They are simply being themselves, independent, serene, and perfectly content in their own skin. They have already mastered something we humans spend our whole lives trying to find: the ability to be completely okay with who they are, right now, in this moment. Maybe instead of trying to fix their indifference, we should try to learn from it. As the old saying goes, cats didn't just come to live with us. They domesticated us by teaching us how to love them on their own terms. And perhaps that is the most beautiful thing about them. If you've ever looked into your cat's eyes and felt like there was a whole world you weren't quite invited into, join us. By following this channel, you're not just watching a video. You're becoming a student of the silent, the subtle, and the feline. Let's keep decoding the mystery of cat psychology together. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for our next deep dive into the lives of our enigmatic companions.